Resume with our program. All right, folks. So next, what we have coming up, something that I'm super excited for. So this is something that, as I mentioned earlier today, we were here in Nashville in September, and one of the top most requested items that came was we would love to have a peer of ours come up and speak and tell us what are they doing that's contributing to their success. How are they working with Kaseya? What are they seeing out there? So I'm honored to invite Tim Taylor to the stage today. He's one of our Blue Diamond partners with TaylorWorks, who's going to take us through our peer insight session.
All right, let's try it again. We have Tim Taylor. There we go. Thank you. I appreciate that. I have lived in Florida now. I am from Memphis, Tennessee originally, so I'm a neighbor with you guys. When I landed down here, I smelled the air. I said, oh my God, I'm back in Tennessee. I love it. I got married here in 1983. I've been married for 40 years. Who's been married for 40 years? There's never a hand that goes up. I love it.
All together or?
One woman, 40 years, yes. I was in college sweetheart.
Like 40 years.
Yeah, it seems like 40 years. You know, when you've been married 40 years, just about every single thing happens to you. I know my wife last year wanted a new car for her birthday. So I got her this like $40,000 car, and I was like, oh my God. And so when it was my birthday, a number of months later, I said, you know what? I'm sick of always spending so much money on you. I said, I want something that goes from 1 to 200 in my driveway, 1 to 200 in 3 seconds in my driveway on my birthday. She goes, well, I don't know if I can do that. I said, no, I want something that goes from 1 to 200 in 3 seconds in my driveway on my birthday. So birthday rolls around, I look out the window, there's a little box out in the driveway. I thought, oh, maybe that's a manual for my BMW. So I go out there and open the box, and it's a bathroom scale. It definitely went from 1 to 200 in 3 seconds. All right, let me give you guys a little bit of my history so you know me a little bit. Like I said, I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. Started programming in college on mainframes. Who's programming on mainframe? Couple of old guys here, yes. Absolutely, a lot of fun. The IBM PC was invented the year I graduated from college. Moved to California, and I was a mainframe programmer at a large nonprofit. That was quite a cultural experience going from Memphis, Tennessee to Southern California, yes. I started installing PCs. Well, they came in one day into the programming department and said, who knows anything about PCs? And I said, well, I know a little bit. And the president's department wanted one. Who's used a daisy wheel printer with the old PCs? Yep. And so WordStar, daisy wheel printer, no networks. So I raised my hand and said, I know how to install that, because I'd done a little bit before I moved out there. And suddenly I became the microcomputer technician. Over the next 13 years, I've installed over 2,000 PCs and servers. Mostly Novell. Who remembers Novell Network before Windows? Yep, absolutely. You know, back in the day, Novell Networks, I had a hotel operation that was part of the organization I was with. So it ran 24/7. And back then, when you needed to upgrade the operating system on a server, you actually had to reformat it with a new operating system. There was no internet, no downloads. So I backed all the data up onto a tape. I reformatted the server, upgraded the operating system, went to restore the tape, and the data on the tape was 4 months old. The tape drive had not worked in 4 months, but yet it looked like it worked. It was running and everything, everybody thought it backed up. I realized this about 3 in the morning, and this was a hotel that was continuing to operate, and all the workers were coming back in at 8 a.m., and I had to sit there from 4 until 8, trying to figure out what I was going to tell them when they walked in the door. So who's had a major bad experience with backup? Okay, you've been around a while, it happens, absolutely. So I moved from Florida to California to Florida in 1991, and great move, loved Central Florida. And I worked for that nonprofit until 1998. I really enjoyed working there. They do work all over the world, and I enjoyed it. But it was a nonprofit. I had 3 kids by this time, and I said, you know what, I have to make more money. So I left there and I went to work for a small IT company. It ended up being just me and the owner. He kept telling me all the stuff he was doing and everything, and I went to his office one day and it was just him. And it was like, all these red flags should have gone off in my head, they kind of did, but I took the job anyway. It was the worst year of my life. I just couldn't, I went from a big organization to a very tiny office. And so anyway, about a year into that, I said, by God, I am going to start my own company. I am sick and tired of putting my money in other people's pocket. Who knows that? Absolutely, okay? So I started literally out of the trunk of my car in 1999. I was 40 years old. I had 3 kids. I had a mortgage. I had 2 car payments, and I had $500 to pay. And that's the exact car I started out of the trunk of right there. I had 1 client. This place wanted to hire me as their internal IT. I said, I'm not going to go to work for you, but I'm starting my own company, but I'll make you my #1 client. And that was the only client I had. So I said, I'm going to make it, or I'm going to die trying. By 2006, we were doing over $1 million a year in sales with 8 employees, all by the hour. There was no managed services. And a lot of my clients didn't even have internet connections. So if they had a problem, we had to go right to their desk and help them. So there was no remoting in. So who remembers Kaseya+Datto? You might remember them? They were around before Datto. I was at one time the largest Zenith dealer in the state of Florida because I love their backup system. It worked. It does a lot of what Datto does today, but the problem with it is you only got chat support out of India. That was the only support we could get. And I had to do a restore in the middle of the night, virtualization actually, and I'm chatting with this guy in India for like 4 hours. Who's been in a building in the middle of the night when they cut off the air conditioning? They cut the air off in the middle of the night, and you're in the server room. How hot is it in the server room in the middle of the night? It's about 110 degrees. So I was in there all night long, and I got it up and working. But when they went under in around 2011, 2012, I started selling data. And I was just at a conference like this, and in the bathroom, somebody mentioned the word Datto, and they said, hey, seems to be a great company, they have a lot of different products. I ordered one of them, never looked back. We converted all our Zenith BDRs over to Datto, and I talked about the virtualization over the weekend. That was really a lot of fun. Company's growing. We hit $2 million in sales in 2020 with 15 employees, and we're on track to do $2.5 million this year. So I'm bigger than some of you, I'm smaller than some of you. I've met a couple of guys here, met one guy that does about $3 million a year, about my same size company. I attribute a lot of our success to 3 areas. Selling Dattos the right way, and not just Dattos, any of your products. Charge enough for these products, okay? A lot of guys say, oh, I'm just gonna discount it. They're a good client, I don't want to charge them a lot of money. Charge the money. They can pay for it, and this is critical to their organization. The data is the organization. If you lose your data, you're out of business. That's the most valuable, other than employees, it is the most valuable thing to a business is their data. The most valuable thing. And we follow best practices, we want to hit important sales. One of the other reasons I think we succeeded is because I always focus on sales. And I even tell my employees, technicians, I say ABS, always be selling. When you're at a client, look around. What is it that's old in them? What is it that's broken? What is it that they really need to replace? You need to tell us that in the main office so we can go and talk to them. And we're constantly measuring our work and operational efficiencies. All right, I'm gonna give you a little bit more about Datto because that's the product I've used the most. So selling Dattos. First of all, I tell my clients, I'm not gonna do your network without me. I'm just not gonna do it because I know the risk that I'm taking if I don't have it in there. Because what happens when it goes down? Who are they coming after? You're the IT guy, right? No matter how many times you try to sell them a decent backup system and they tell you no, when it goes down, what are they gonna do? They're gonna come right after you. Who's been in that boat, okay? It's no fun, my friend. You're probably gonna lose the client over it, okay? So they're gonna blame you. If the customer complains about the cost of a good backup system, break the cost down to a daily number. Look, it's only gonna cost you like $5 a day, $8 a day. Break it even down by number of employees. 75 cents per employee per day, per month, per week, whatever that is. Make it a very small number so it doesn't sound that much. The SP500, very inexpensive Datto. We charge $258 a month. I always, whatever Datto charges me monthly, I double it. Now some people just mark it up like 10%. No, we double it, okay? And now if you get a 3-year contract on a Datto, they give you the hardware, okay? But are you gonna just give the hardware to the customer? You may do that. But is it gonna cost you something to put it in and time to put it in? Give them a 50% discount on the hardware. It didn't cost you anything, but that's profit for you because it's gonna take you time to put it in, okay? You know, just, you can break it down by price. It's only 51 cents per gig per month in the cloud. And you know, just a perfect example, I know you've all been here, but I got a call from a lady. She does audits of dental offices. She called me one day, it was not our client. She called me and said, would you please go out to this dentist in Tavares, Florida? Said his network is ransomed. Everybody's freaking out. Would you please just go out there and look? So I go out there, and this is a huge dental office. They had 25 computers in the dental office, which is enormous, okay? The parking lot was full of cars. All the customers were sitting there. Nobody could work. I walk in the door, everybody's just walking around in circles. They lead me back to the server room, and the old doctor at the start of the practice was standing there in this white lab coat. And he looked at me and said, this is the closest I've ever felt in my life to having a heart attack. And I said, what's going on? He said, everything is ransomed. I can't do anything. And I said, where is your backup? He goes, well, I have a little external hard drive sitting here. Of course, that was ransomed too. I said, where's your remote backup? He said, my IT guy's been trying to sell me one for 2 years, and I wouldn't pay the $300 a month. The ransom was a couple of 3 years ago. It was about $50,000 to $80,000. Do you think he saved any money? Not only that, all those patients were sitting there in the parking lot. They couldn't get work done. He was losing probably $1,000 an hour by being down. He ended up having to pay the ransom. I didn't get involved in that point. I think he paid the ransom. They got back up after about 4 days. Okay, so do you think he saved money? When I'm trying to sell a Datto to a customer, I tell them that story. And the poor guy was literally about to have a heart attack when I walked in the door. We've all been there, okay? Look, a few more things about Datto. The Datto product protects your client, but it protects you more, okay? You as the MSP. Again, when they go down and they can't get back up, you are the guy they're gonna come after. I don't care what you've told them, I don't care what you've done, it will be your fault. And you might work like a slave to get them back up again, and guess what? They're gonna start looking for somebody else. Because it shouldn't have happened to me. That's what they're gonna think, and that shouldn't have happened. Okay? If your client's having a hard time paying, break it down. A few dollars per month, we'll back up your server, data in the cloud, we'll install the device, and we can restore quickly. Okay? Some of you might just back up into the cloud only. Okay? For a very small network, maybe you can get away with that. But what I like about the Datto device is that I can virtualize them. If the server crack, you know, we have a lot of lightning in Florida, right? We're the lightning capital of the world. I think Nigeria is number 2. We have tons of lightning in Florida. It takes out servers all the time. I don't care what you put on that server. If they get a direct hit or a really close hit to the building, it's going to take it out. You walk on the server and there's smoke coming out of the server. Okay? You want to be able to get them back up very quickly. I talk about I can virtualize it on the device if the server crashes. And here's a perfect example. Spine Center of Orlando, one of our clients for a long time. Their main domain controller, which we had sold them many years before, they signed a contract saying to replace it. I gave them a quote, yes, replace it next week when we're not so busy. Guess what happens about 3 days after they sign it? Bang, there goes the old domain controller, okay? My guy remoted in, spun up the Datto, made it the domain controller. They ran off of that for the next week in the office. We got the new hardware, put it in that weekend, burned everything over to the Datto, and the next Monday morning they were back up and running. They were down for 2 hours. These people see 1,500 patients. They have 4 offices, and they all remain remote connected here. They see 1,500 patients a week. Okay, they would have been down for days because that server was so old, I couldn't have got parts for it. Okay, so they got back up very quickly because they had a Datto that I could virtualize. If they won't pay for it, put it in there anyway. Okay, again, who's got the most risk? You do. You have the most to lose over this. Obviously, they're going to have big financial risk, but you're going to lose the client over something like that. Put it in there anyway. Raise your managed service price or whatever. Just add something else, but put it in anyway. Okay? And the smaller the network you have, the more they're going to fight you over it. You know, again, you can put a simple remote backup, a software-only backup on a small server. But again, when they're down, they're likely to lose their whole business. And it takes days sometimes to download all that data. So even a small network, I try very hard to get a virtualizing them out. The Alto is an excellent device. It's cheap. You can't virtualize on it, but it has a local copy and a cloud version. And then their Sirius X devices are a little bit cheaper than our Sirius X devices. Okay. So how did I grow my company? Okay. How do you get 500K, 1 million, 2 million, and 5 million? Okay. Evaluate your pricing models. Who raised their prices this year? Every hand should go up. How much has inflation gone up over the last 2 years? You know that if you didn't add a new client, you're now like 15% less revenue, right, as you sit here, than you were 2 years ago because of inflation. Raise your prices. Put it in your contract that I'm going to raise prices every year, usually the consumer price index, whatever that number is, or I have the ability to raise it to whatever I want. Okay? I talked to a guy the other day. I'm going to talk about some consulting in a minute. But I talked to a guy the other day over in Tampa area. Small guy, single operator. He was charging $75 an hour for his time. And he was wondering why he wasn't making his money. Wasn't making any money. His wife was pregnant, and and he had a decent number of clients. And I said, your new billable hourly rate is $135 an hour starting January 1. I said, I'm talking mid-December. I said, write all of your clients today, and I will give you $1,000 if you lose one client. He only had one client that even called him and questioned. Okay, he went from $75 an hour to $135 an hour, which is more the market in Tampa, just like that, not one complaint. Because he was doing good work for these people, and that's the going rate. It was ridiculous. He was losing money hand over fist. Okay? Another way to grow your business is get a coach. You cannot do this by yourself. Now, if you've been in business many years, you know what you're doing. Okay, I know the guys in here that have been doing this a long time. If you've been in business 3 or 4 years and you're struggling with growing, get a coach. Okay, you need an IT consultant to work with you that understands MSPs and understands this market. Okay, and I'm not talking about people that just do marketing, right? You probably all know what I'm talking about. Okay, or there's a few people out there that talk about making billions of dollars, and all they talk about is marketing. They don't talk about running your business, hiring people, promoting people, firing people. They don't talk about any of that stuff, what it actually takes to run your business. They just talk about marketing. And always be on the lookout for new revenue streams. Okay? Is backup a revenue stream? It better be. Was it a revenue stream in 1999 when I started? Absolutely not. Okay? There was hardly any backup. Servers just had a tape drive in them. Okay, that was it. Now, backup can actually be a revenue stream. And there's just a psychology way of thinking when you're an MSP that you're a business person and you're a technical person, but you have to think about running this type of business in a unique way. I've written one book about running a managed service practice, and that's going to be actually the title of my next book, Psychology of Running an MSP. Be efficient in your operation, okay? Use the right tools for your business. Kaseya has been up here talking all day about the tools that they have bought, and now they have a whole family of these tools that you can use. Use the right tools. If you get a tool and you don't implement it and don't start using it within a year or 9 months, then you need to get rid of it because you're not using it. All right, either when you get a tool, make the commitment to use it or get rid of it. It's just costing you money, okay? And don't buy a tool just because it's the latest, flashiest thing. Buy a tool that meets a real need in your business. Okay, there are so many tools out there. I mean, everybody's heard of vendor fatigue, okay? There are so many tools and things out there, and you can't run them all. You absolutely can't. I have a little hanger in my office where every tag I go to, I hang it up there. It is like to this day with tags. I've probably been to 100 conferences. You know how many different products I've looked at? God only knows, okay? Get the ones that help your business, okay? Maybe pen testing, we're starting to look at that. That could be a great revenue stream. But if you have 1 or 2 employees, you may not have time to do that and run your business. Okay, it could be a great revenue stream for you, but be realistic about the tools you get, and are you going to have the time to use them? Okay, consolidating your vendors. This is one great thing that Kaseya is doing. They are pulling a lot of these products together so you can pay one vendor. All right, it certainly streamlines your business. Okay, we currently use Autotask, Data RMM, IT Glue, about 3 more. Payment tool, what is it?
Connect Booster.
Connect Booster, and then the one's been around wherever you can analyze security on the network.
Right.
Rapid Fire, yes, we use that one as well, and ID Agent. Okay, so we use all of those. And all of those I had before this big merger, in fact, was coming in to Autotask, or into Kaseya. One thing I would recommend too, I met a guy, I don't know his name right now, but if you write me, I'll get it to you. He was at a conference I spoke at not that long ago, and he was a Autotask consultant. How many of you use an Autotask? Okay, a lot of you. This guy was like an Autotask consultant, independent. He doesn't work for Kaseya, but he can really help you streamline your Autotask to where it's really doing work for you. Okay, instead of you spending a lot of time on it. It does a lot. It's a great product. It does a lot of things, but a lot of us don't use everything it does. You have to set it up correctly and make it streamlined. And he's a consultant that can help you do that. All right, what's next? Okay, we are currently in the process of looking at Profit Fuel. Now, Profit Fuel, they will come in for free and look at all of your products and see where they can help you streamline the whole thing. But they have products that that does the same thing as another product. You have it cheaper, okay? So definitely take a look at Profit Fuel. It can help you save money. You can look at, you may be cutting your tech stack by 25 or 30% cost. That's a lot of money. That's a whole lot of money. And it actually tells you what additional products that you can use if they sell and bring in additional revenue streams. But again, I'm just telling you this, don't get a product if you don't have time to work with it. It's just gonna sit there and cost you money. Okay, maybe you can say it doesn't like it when I say that, but seriously, if you don't have time to do it, don't do it. Okay, but be thinking about, I could be making money at this, and now you know about it, you know what it costs, you know what you can do with it, and when you're ready, buy it and put it in place. Okay. 2 or 3 hours for the whole exercise, 3 or 4 hours for the whole exercise to go through Profit Fuel, and you can see where you can see where you can save some money. They do the legwork and okay. One of the things that I did when I first started my company was I looked for a book, How to Start and Run a Successful IT Company. In 1999, you think that book had been written? You would have thought it had been written, but it was not written. I looked everywhere for that book. And I finally found a book about running a computer store. That was all I could find. And I just said, by God, I'm going to write that book one of these days. And I sat down started in 2015, and I wrote a book called How to Start and Run a Successful IT Company. It's on Amazon right now, Kindle, Audible as well. And I've sold hundreds of those all over the world. People contact me from Ireland, from India, from Australia. Because again, there was no book. There still isn't another book just like this that I've ever found. Carl Palachek's book, Managed Services in a Month, was an excellent book to go from break fix to managed services. How many of you had to go from break fix to managed services? The older guys, okay? It was not fun, was it? That was murder. I like to never pull that off. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. But we pulled it off. Now we have about $170,000 a month in ARR, which is really nice. But there's not really great books on running this type of industry, okay? I tell people, if you're just starting out, this is an excellent book for you, and even if you've been running for a few years, this is also, you'll learn things in here that you don't know. I have a few copies in the back. My card reader broke, so if you pick it, you can order it on Amazon. I do self-fulfillment. I'll just hand it to you as soon as you order it. So if you want one today, I can give that to you. It's in the back. Again, it's also available on Kindle and Audible. I said, I'm going to do it on Audible. So, being the resourceful guy I am, I just grabbed my little microphone, plugged it in my laptop, and just read the whole book. And I sent it to Audible, and they said, this sucks. The quality of the audio was horrible. My dog even barked in the background one time. I was like, I'm not an audio professional. So I thought, I need a better microphone. So I bought another better microphone, plugged it in, read the whole thing. It was like 6 hours. Sent it to them again, they said, it's still horrible. So I got a buddy of mine who is who's done some TV commercials and stuff. He's got a really good voice. I got paid him, went into a studio and recorded the whole thing. So it's excellent now. So if you want to pick it up, I had a lot of people when I first read the book said, please get out the Audible version. I like listening to it in the car. So I did that. And one of the things I did, I like giving back. I started a consulting practice where I met a lot of young guys that are just starting their MSP life. Or I have met guys that have been in business 10 years and they're still working by themselves. And they absolutely do not know why. And 90% of it is right here. Okay, it's the way they think about themselves and about the business. Okay, and I meet guys that are charging $75 an hour, and they wonder whether they're not making any money. Okay, so I consult with a number of guys right now. It's very inexpensive compared to a lot of other people. Again, I'll be in the back afterwards. If anybody needs help, I would love to help you. I work with a lot of different people. I do some one-on-one consulting, and I do some group consulting. We're in a group of about 10 other guys. So let me know if you're interested in that. And I work with MSPs all across the United States, and I worked with a guy in Australia for a while, and I still run my own MSP, okay? I'm still running out there every day, doing exactly what you guys are doing. So when I tell you something in my consulting practice, I'm doing the same thing, okay? So it's not like I did it 25 years ago, okay? I'm still doing it every day today. I was answering emails right before I walked up here. And I'll just say, how can I help you guys? If you need me for anything, I'm very happy to help you. If anybody has any questions about what I shared today or anything I've talked about, I'd love to help out you in that. Okay? Thanks. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? I didn't really open it up for questions. Anybody got any questions about anything? Kaseya is a great company, you guys. They're consolidating all these products. To be honest with you, they've had some problems in the billing department, but they're getting it straightened out. I personally have not run into any problems. I don't know why. I've heard horror stories, but they're putting the resources into it to get it all fixed. So just be patient with them. When you buy that many companies that quickly, it's going to take a little while. So who's had success with marketing? What are you doing in your marketing, and how successful has it been? Who's had good success? Yes, sir.
We've been doing some direct mail stuff,
Okay.
actual U.S. Postal Service.
Okay.
Trying to send out something that would make us look different,
Okay.
and following up with phone calls. We're about to start we live in a big federal government town.
Okay.
Navy and NASA.
Okay.
So we're about to start on this 800-171 and the CMMC training for businesses. And so that'll be a webinar that we start in
Let's try to
February.
do it right now.
We'll do
Okay.
that every month. So that has actually gotten a few people in our door. We
Okay.
have not, however, gotten any contracts signed in like 2 months. So it's,
Yeah, it takes a while. Marketing takes a while to start working. Okay, who's done a lunch and learn before? Lunch and learn. You know that Datto has marketing dollars. A lot of other vendors have marketing dollars and they'll pay for the whole thing. A few years ago, I just said I'm going to do a lunch and learn, and I contacted Datto, and they said, "Mark, this is what you got to do to pull this off." And I just invited everybody on our cold call list, everybody I could get my hands on, and then I also invited our own current clients. I had a room this big full of people. I had 75 or 80 people. We spent lunch. I got Datto came in and did the talk. It was excellent. So I usually do one of those every year. Okay, that's a great marketing thing. You're talking to new people. Free lunch. You know, I advertised it. There's one place that kind of hit the whole public, and I had several old couples come in there just for a free lunch. They just showed up, saying, "Hey, why don't you get free lunch?" So they had no idea what it was about. But it was a lot of fun. Who's had a marketing thing they've done that has not worked? You feel like you spent a lot of money on it, it didn't do anything. I'll be honest, okay? All right, yes. All right, what did you do?
Email marketing.
Email marketing.
Usually trying to do social media marketing.
Social media. Who's had success with social media marketing? Okay, how have you done that? What has it done for you?
I'm not marketing, but they utilize a lot on LinkedIn and such.
Okay.
Push it, especially
Okay.
when that CMC is big.
Yeah. You know, social media is an interesting animal. I get at least 10 emails a week from different social media marketing companies. They want to, I've had the same email address for 25 years. You're going to get a million emails. And everybody wants to be the market on social media and stuff. I'm not so sure that's super effective for this industry, personally. And you can promote yourself online, LinkedIn, if you're going to do it on LinkedIn. It's my thing. I have a Facebook account. I just do personal stuff on it. I don't do anything business related, even though I'm connected to a lot of IT guys around the country. I just do family stuff on there. But LinkedIn is for business. If you post a lot of LinkedIn articles. There's an excellent book called They Ask, You Answer. Okay? And this guy he sold pools for a living. And it was during the pandemic, but nobody wanted to buy anything. And he started thinking about, here's all the questions that my potential customers ever ask me. And he just put all of them on his website. How much does a pool cost? How long does it take to get built? And he was extremely honest with all of the answers. And his website just blew up. It started getting all these hits. And he started making sales of pools when his competitors weren't selling anything. He was selling them all the time during the pandemic. And he said, he wrote a whole book about it. It's called They Ask, You Answer. I'm almost positive that's the title. So put that on your website. What's the cloud? What cybersecurity tools should I use? All the questions that you get asked by your customers, put them on a blog post or something on your website. So when someone types into Google that question, it might land on you. Okay? So that's a really cheap way to advertise yourself. Okay? You can spend an enormous amount of money in advertising, cold calling companies, internal guys that do calling for you. I have done everything. I've done every type of marketing that you can do. You know the most successful marketing that I've done? It is go to business leads groups and get warm referrals. Okay? That's honestly the best, cheapest marketing I've ever done. I go to about 2 or 3 groups a week, and I only go to groups that are business to business leads groups, not business to consumer. You don't want to go in there with the Mary Kay ladies in there, or the Avon person, or all these insurance people, the real estate people. Okay, go to places where they're business people that sell to other businesses, like copier guys. Okay, copier guys are great to network with because they're out there talking to the same people you are. Make sure you work with a copier company that's not competing with you. A lot of them are getting into IT. But go to one that's usually if it's an independent guy. I've got a guy that I've worked with for 20 years. I had a big client that had a bunch of copiers, and I kept seeing their company name on there, and I said, I want to talk to your salesman. We met for lunch and talked for 2 hours. We trade leads all the time. Every business I go into, I take a picture of their copier, so he knows what they have. He has a sticker on the side, who's supporting it. He knows exactly what he could go in there and propose it. And I texted to him. And I said, there's 3 guarantees on my closing: death, taxes, and a phone call from him 2 minutes after he gets that photograph. Okay? And then he does the same thing for me. He always asks them when he's talking about the copier, hey, who does your IT? Are you happy with them? Would you be interested in getting a quote from somebody else? Okay? That's a great relationship. You need to have a bunch of those kind of relationships. And that is what I have found over 25 years has worked the best for me. Okay? You can have a lot of success with other things, but that's what's worked the best for me. So, okay? Any other questions? Did I run out of time, or did I go over, or under? Oh, really? Perfect. All right, thanks again, guys.
Tim, thanks so much. And Tim will be here through the networking hour, and he's got a table in the back over there on the left-hand side, so if you guys want to have some individual one-on-one time with him, please feel free to. All right, let's move on to our last session here for the day, and then after that we'll have some sponsor wrap-up sessions. So last set of content here, I'd like to invite Nadir Merchant, GM of IT Glue, and our IT Operations Suite up to the stage, please.